Moving on from an ex can feel impossible, but I'm here to tell you that it's definitely doable as long as you're not getting stuck making these mistakes. And trust me, we've all made a few of these mistakes that has left us with even more heartache. But after you watch this video, you'll know exactly which mistakes you need to stop making so that you can heal your heart fully and move on from your ex for good. Hey lovely, welcome to my channel. I'm Tatiana Simone, the Heartbreak Doula. I support women who are navigating heartbreak. I help you to heal your heart, reclaim your power, and transform from wounded to wise. When my relationship ended, I thought that I was just destined to miss my ex forever. And if I'm being honest, I wasn't really ready to let go. So I tried to do all of the things, in essence, made all of these mistakes that really just caused me even more heartache and pain. It wasn't until I actually stopped making these mistakes that I was able to finally begin the process of healing and letting them go. The first mistake is chasing. After a relationship ends, especially if you're not the one who initiated the breakup or divorce, there is a tendency to want to get back together, to want to go back to what's familiar, kind of like your homeostasis. All of that is totally normal and valid. It's valid to miss the person that you were in a relationship with. However, the mistake comes into play when we begin to grasp or cling or try to hold on to the relationship or the person for reasons that aren't really supportive. When we begin to do this, it often causes us to neglect our own hearts, neglect our own feelings in an attempt to receive the love that we are feeling that we're missing out on. When we're chasing to get back the relationship or the person, a lot of the times it's really not about the person. It's about who does that person represent for us? What does the end of the relationship mean to us? What are we making it mean about us? So taking the time to dig a little deep and uncover the answers to these questions will really be supportive and stopping the mistake of chasing. A lot of the times, again, with chasing, when we feel that we are missing out on love, it can cause us to go into a response of self-abandonment, and that is neglecting our own hearts, neglecting our own truths, literally for the sake of coming back into connection with that thing that makes us feel safe. But the beautiful thing is safety is created within. So even though the breakup or divorce may be really painful, this is an opportunity for you to, like I said, dig deep, uncover those questions, and offer that safety or offer whatever it is that you're seeking through this relationship, offer that to yourself. For me, when my relationship ended, like I said, I made all of the mistakes. I did not realize how many times in my life that I felt abandoned. So when the relationship ended, I immediately went into a response of panicking and trying to do whatever I could to not feel that sense of abandonment, and that caused me to do things that I wouldn't normally do, or to do things that afterwards I was like, wow, why did I do that when this relationship is clearly over? Why am I still offering and operating as if it's not? It really gave me the opportunity to not only heal the relationship ending, but dig deeper and heal the original core wound of that sense of abandonment, so that I can then stop responding in ways where I was abandoning myself, all to receive love. The next mistake is ruminating and obsessing. When we're in a space of ruminating, it's as if our mind is in a constant loop that either has us stuck in the past or fixated on the future. So those questions like, what if only, I should have, I could have, why didn't, or what will happen, when will they move on, have they moved on? All of these questions that are focused on the past or focused on the future takes us out of the present moment, which is where the healing takes place. These endless loops of questions hold us back from actually being able to move on. We're reminiscing over the relationship, and often with rose-colored glasses. This romanticizing of the relationship is one of the things that keeps us stuck and not able to actually move forward. It keeps us in the space of holding on to what was good and ignoring the bad, and therefore continues the cycle of endless rumination and endless obsessing over the past and the future. When we're doing this, we're actually neglecting our own hearts. And so bringing that energy that we are pouring out into thinking all of the thoughts that keeps our minds spinning, bringing that energy back into us and focusing on our hearts and our healing is going to be very supportive in this journey and help you stop ruminating and obsessing. The third mistake is seeking answers. Now, it is totally normal to want to have your questions answered and have a conversation during the initial phases of the breakup. The mistake comes into play when we go into an unconscious response and begin to continuously seek and demand answers from the person that we're no longer in a relationship with. A lot of the times, the questions that we have, we've already received the answers to. We just may not be happy or satisfied with these answers. Or if we're being truthful, the answers to our questions may actually cause us more heartache. When we're focused on getting these answers to our questions, a lot of the times we're thinking that the answers will change the outcome of the situation or in a way alleviate the pain, and that's usually not the case. This keeps us stuck and unable to move on because it keeps us tied to the storyline and the drama and the narrative of all the things, which is not unimportant. But when it comes time to begin the processes of moving forward and healing our hearts, at some point we have to let the storyline go and begin to focus solely on us and how best to move forward so that we can heal our hearts. The fourth mistake is sending storybook text. Now, I know we all have done that. Honey, the length of text messages that I sent to my ex when we first broke up could have been a novel, okay? It was next level. The interesting thing is this is kind of a combination of all the other mistakes combined. So for me, I would be in a space of ruminating and obsessing over the past, over our relationship, over my ex. Then I would begin to have questions where I was like, I need to know these answers, okay? So I then began to chase and demand and seek all of these things from my ex because I got into a space where in thinking about the past and thinking about the relationship, ruminating, I began to get activated. I began to get frustrated, infuriated. My heart began to hurt. And I began to realize all of the boundaries that were crossed. And I began to get livid in rage. So I send those angry text messages. So I'm saying all of that to say a lot of the times, this is our way of processing our anger. We will think about the relationship, think about what went wrong, think about what we allowed, think about all of the things that piss us off, then begin to get activated. And to offload that anger, to move that anger, we direct it towards the person that we're angry with. And we send these storybooks text messages. They're hardly ever well received. But this isn't totally the valid response. It's a way of desiring to be seen and acknowledged and validated in our emotional experience and in the pain that we've experienced and by the person that we may feel has caused that pain or at least had a part in it. So all of this is totally valid. It just may not be the most supportive way to move and process that anger. And maybe it's not anger for you. Maybe it's sadness. Maybe you're sending storybook text messages saying how sad and just upset you are over the situation. It's still the same process. We want to be seen, heard, and acknowledged in that experience, oftentimes by the person that we feel has caused it or played a part in it. And we're desiring for them to take responsibility, take ownership, and oftentimes change the outcome. And that rarely happens. So it is a mistake that keeps us stuck and unable to fully move on and let that ex go. Before we hop into the next mistake, leave a comment below letting me know that you made it this far and declaring which mistake you are done with, okay? So that we can celebrate you and moving forward and healing your heart and letting your ex go for good. Mistake number 5 is sharing your heart, your pain, or your process with them. Now, it's totally normal to want to go back to what feels familiar and share things with the person that you have been sharing with up until the point of the relationship ending. Now, the mistake here is actually quite subtle and can play out in various ways depending on how you're actually processing the relationship ending. So it can look like many things, one of them being you are sharing with them simply because you want to gauge how they really feel in this moment, or how they really feel about the relationship. You are sharing with them, and if they don't respond in a way that you think that they should respond, it is to validate the story in your head of, see, you never cared about me, or see, if you cared about me, this is how you would respond. Or it can come through as you sharing your healing with them or sharing your forgiveness with them so that it could let them off the hook, and in an attempt to rebuild the relationship, in an attempt to say, hey, I know that there was pain involved. However, I'm healing, I'm moving on. if you wanted to, we can do this again. Now, again, this mistake is a little bit subtle, so you may experience this a little differently. I know for me, when my relationship ended and I began to go to all of the therapists that at the time I thought would be very supportive for me, I shared that with my ex. And the reason for me sharing, because I wanted that person to know, hey, I'm healing, which means I've forgiven you. That was not the case at the time. Hey, I'm healing, and if you were feeling guilty about what happened, you don't have to feel guilty anymore because I'm healing and we can get back together. That literally was my whole thought process. That literally was the energy behind me sharing. So again, this one plays out very subtly and can look very different depending on where you are within your journey of healing and the relationship endings. So this would be a good opportunity to kind of dig a little deeper to see how you may have been responding to your ex and see if this mistake is one that has been coming up for you. The sixth mistake is wanting to glow up just so they can see. Now, we all know about the post-breakup glow up, and actually it's a great thing. However, when we are in a space where as soon as the relationship ends or very soon after the relationship ends, our immediate response is like, I'm about to be better than I ever was, honey. You're going to regret the day that you walked out on all of this. I'm about to be like next level version of me, and you're going to regret that. So that is the mistake right there. We're focusing our energy on the actual person instead of ourselves. So yes, we may be glowing up, we may be making changes and shifts in our lives, but if the reason is to cause jealousy or a sense of regret in the person that we're no longer in a relationship with, the energy there is not truly focused on us or our healing. And that is a mistake that can keep us constantly thinking about the ex and doing things motivated by the ex instead of truly on our own hearts and healing. And getting them to see what they're missing out on can also come through as an attempt to prove our worth, to prove our value, to prove how lovable we really are. And just know that you are so valuable, you are so worthy, and you are so lovable as you are. And whether or not they come back or they ever acknowledge that or see that does not ever take that away. The seventh mistake is seeking to hurt them. When we're experiencing intense emotional pain, we can fall into unhelpful and unsupportive coping mechanisms. And one of those can be the thought process of, if the person who hurt me is also experiencing hurt and pain, then somehow my hurt and pain will be alleviated. And that is not how healing works. When we're seeking to hurt the person that has hurt us or had a part in hurting us, or seeking revenge, what we're really seeking is justice for the hurt that we feel in our hearts. Now, there are many practices, tools, and healing modalities that will support you in reclaiming your energy, reclaiming your power, and processing the pain and the intense emotional experience in a way that is much more supportive for you, your heart, and your healing. I have even one more thing for you to do if you're ready to stop making these mistakes and go from heartbroken to heart liberated. Watch this video where I show you the complete process of putting the pieces back together after a heartbreak. If you're ready to heal with more intention and less overwhelm, trust me, you don't want to miss this. Click now to watch.